Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of MKWii. This is episode 104. That's crazy. As most episodes that end in a 4 or a 9, this is a post-commentated episode. So I already played this thing. The voice is not coming from me in the present time, it's coming from me in the future. Ooh! Anyway, I'm playing as Funky Kong in the Wario Bike today, and without any further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into things. Okay, so the first race that I have for you is the first race I did, which is why I'm starting in 12th. It definitely wasn't because I was bad and got 12th on a race before this. That couldn't be it. It's actually not it. I am struggling to get an item here. Unfortunately, I hit Baby Peach's back spam, so I drop a little bit further back in first place, and I hop the wrong direction to grab the item, so things are not looking so great for me right now. But luckily, Baby Peach doesn't have an item either. She just used her fake item box, and in the cave section, you can just outline any CPUs, because they have no idea how to take this section, as always. So I get into first place. As always, with the first race, I'm still trying to figure out how exactly the car handles. Unfortunately, I got blue shell, so, yeah. Great commentary, might I add. I unfortunately hit this penguin, so Baby Peach gets an even larger lead than she currently did, and I'm just kind of struggling back here. So, she falls off the edge. That is phenomenal news. Unfortunately, I missed the item box, so I go for, go about my normal day. Oh my goodness, what is wrong with my commentary today? It's kind of bad, don't you agree? Anyway, I see this red shell coming for me. I decide to hop over the crack. That is a fantastic way to dodge red shells if you don't have an item. You use the environment. Ha ha ha, environmental warfare. Speaking of, this penguin hits me and then I get shocked, which is not very fun. Now, I don't know why this is, but like, I assume this is outside drift bikes and small and wheeling, but I'm getting this like weird bounce sensation. You didn't see it very well in that clip, but there'll be other clips where I'm shocked and I'll point it out again. It's really weird. Anyway, I'm taking my lines a little risky just because I need to get a little more ground from second place. That is pretty close behind me. Unfortunately, I missed the item box again because I don't know, I'm just bad at the game or something. And then I take that one pretty tight, and I get an even larger lead because there's some item shenanigans behind me. I pull up my banana in time to block that red shell, and as I enter the cave section, things are looking pretty good for me here. I'm not worried about anything else that might be happening here. Red shell comes, but I use the environment once again to block it, so that's pretty good. Some things to note about this vehicle in particular. It's got a really good handling stat. So when you're outside of a drift, you can honestly just kind of steer and you will make the turn. It's also got a pretty good off-road stat. So if needs be, that can be a thing that I take advantage of, which you will see in a later race. I do indeed take advantage of that. It's also got a pretty good weight, so I can feel free to bump people around. Obviously, it's not as much as the off-roaders say that King Boo and Wario are in, so I'm going to have to look out a little bit for them, but anyone else I can kind of bump around, and it's not an issue. The next race I have for you is Peach Beach. This is the fourth race that I did. Yeah, a pretty typical Peach Beach opening. I take the line, and I avoid the ducks. I don't have that much of a lead, so I'm going to play a little bit conservative here, but I do see this lineup from King Boo. I just have to throw my green shell back, and I hit. Haha! Take that, you idiot nerd. Yes, so I keep on driving, I go around the outside, I avoid hitting this duck, very important. Baby Mario takes a really inside line, so he's actually pretty close to me, but I am able to get a little more distance here, and he hits a Cataquack behind me, so that is perfect. I should note that, as I'm driving... Oh, a blue shell comes. I should note that as I'm driving, I tend to... Oh, I get comboed here. Dang, I get comboed. I should note that as I'm wheeling, I like to turn slightly in my wheelie to give myself a better alignment. That's actually not good practice. Oh, yep, I get shocked again, and you can see here, I get this weird bounce when I'm wheeling. It's so weird. Anyway, it's not good practice to turn in your wheelie. It actually lessens your top speed in a wheelie. So that is a bad habit of mine. I need to get rid of it. but I haven't yet, so that's fun. I remember that this mushroom is here from last lap, and I go ahead and take it, and just in time, because the blue shell comes, and would have wrecked my race, honestly. I probably, well, maybe I would have gotten second. Who knows? Anyway, that's a perfect game so far, so we head on over to Luigi Circuit. This is my 5th race now. Yes, so this one might be a little difficult for me, because I immediately get red shelled. I didn't even have time to pull out my item, so that is kind of rude, but I am in 6th place now, looking for mushrooms to take the final pipe shortcut, and I get triple red shells. Now I'm going to play this conservatively, I'm going to throw one at Birdo, and I'm just going to hold on to the other 2. I don't want to get too far up there and not get a mushroom. And I did get a mushroom in 3rd place. There are 2 people ahead of me, so I'm not going to throw my red shell and just give one of them a super large lead. And then Baby Peach hits my item anyway, so I guess I don't even have the option to throw it. But, 3rd place with the mushroom, I'm definitely going to take the pipe shortcut. Now, I'm not super confident in this vehicle on taking the pipe shortcut, so I'm going to take it pretty wide, as you see me do here. But it is still enough to put me into 1st place. And it's not a huge margin, but it'll do for now. I can work with this. Unfortunately, I get red shelled immediately again, and I don't have an item to block it this time. But that's okay, because then the blue shell comes immediately afterwards, so it's kind of a good thing, actually, that happened. I am in 1st place now with a red shell. I decided not to throw it back, because if anyone passes me, I can red shell them, and that's probably more valuable than gaining space at this point in time, so I decided to do that. I throw it back anyway, and I hit King Boo in his stupid little face. Just kidding, I love King Boo. King Boo is one of the best characters in this game. Yeah, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I just almost spilled my water all over myself. Anyway, the next race I have for you is on Wario's Gold Mine. This is the 8th track that I did. Baby Peach gets a wicked draft off me right away, so, yeah, that's no good. But I get a mushroom, and I'm like, where can I use a mushroom on this track? Is a great question to ask yourself, because that's part of the strategy of this game. I got Willy bumped by Baby Mario, so he gets a little more ground on me. And I decided I'm going to try to go for the glitch. That seems like a good place to use it. Unfortunately, I hit the side of this minecart and fall off the edge, so I do not get to use my mushroom. And that drops me into 8th place, but CPUs are bad at this section for no good reason, so I get back into 5th place, and I pull the spiny shell, or the blue shell as it's colloquially named. Now, I'm just going to hold on to this until I get into 1st place, because there's only one blue shell ever in play, and if I have the blue shell, nobody else can throw a blue shell at me. See how that works? That's it's pretty smart, if I do say so myself. Unfortunately, that implies I have to get into 1st without using any items. But luckily, Wario's in front of me. He's just kind of knocking people off the edge, so I'm okay with that. He tries to knock me into some bats here, but I combat him a little bit. And I get this crazy draft off of him. I'm in front of him for part of that, so I don't know how that happens, but anyway, I draft him. That's pretty cool. King Boo is in 1st place, and he's got a pretty decent lead, but I can take the shortcut over here, which is faster to take, and CPUs never take this shortcut, so I end up about neck and neck with him, and I managed to pass him during this turn. So, I'm in 1st place with the blue shell now. Things are going according to plan, but then the POW comes immediately as soon as I get into 1st place. Kind of rude. I get a really weird bounce on the POW dodge, so I missed the boost panel. But that's okay. I'm in 1st place with a banana now. That's pretty decent. I have a decent-sized lead over 1st and a pretty large lead over 3rd. Excuse me. 2nd and 3rd. Then I get blue shelled. This is not the worst place to get blue shelled, but that does mean King Boo passes me. I try to do a quick little snipe on him, but he drives off the edge anyway, the idiot that he is. So that's pretty good. Baby Daisy does pass me here, but she has a thundercloud, so I'm not worried about it. I will return and just be in 1st place. Unfortunately, I try to take this turn too tight, and somehow I fall off the edge, and I get 2nd place. So, that race ruined my perfect game. Up until then, I had a perfect game. And now I'm at 117 points instead of my beautiful 120. Oh well. Such is Mario Kart. So the next track I have for you today is Mario Circuit. This is, I have it written down actually this time. I don't have to guess. This is the 13th track that I did. So already pretty well into the swing of things. I don't see the shroom button time, so I do not grab it. And I decided to go inside the chain jump here because I am a menace to society. Unfortunately, so is that side green that completely I don't see. I hit this awesome snipe on Baby Mario, but he gets comboed. Don't really care. I grab an item here. It's triple bananas. Luckily, Baby Daisy takes Birdo's back spam, and I back spam Birdo and Drafter, so I am now in first place, and I've got a decent lead. This is definitely a bike track because it's got a lot of long straightaways that wheeling is just super awesome on. So, that's good. Birdo is in a cart. Baby Daisy is unfortunately in a bike, but I'm getting blue shelled! Yay! Everybody loves blue shells. And then I get comboed! Yay! Everybody loves getting comboed! It's my favorite! We should probably include a combo counter on this video. I think that's been twice. I'm not going to do it in editing, because I don't care enough to do that. Are you kidding? A red shell comes, and this time I'm able to block it, and I'm trying to hit Baby Daisy with my snipes, but she is just barely avoiding them. The crazy lady that she is. So I will grab another item. She missed her item, so I see that it is a red shell, and I'm just going to pass her, hit her with my trailing item. That's pretty good. I have a red shell now in first place. Things are looking pretty good for me. Unfortunately then, another blue shell comes. And worse than that, I'm getting comboed. But I sneak around this banana, but there's a second red shell! Baby Mario threw 2 red shells at me! How dare that little ragamuffin, that rapscallion, that Presbyterian, excuse me. Anyway, yeah, I totally should have won that race, but then luck exists, so, oh well, it happens. This next track is, once again, Sherbetland. I have a terrible opening to this track and get immediately knocked off the edge. So I'm in 12th place. I'm playing this one from behind. I managed to grab the bullet here, and I'm just going to hold on to it for a little bit until I can get into a higher position. Now, something about bullets is they try to take you up 4 places, so if you're in 7th place like I am, and I use the bullet, it'll try to drop me into 3rd. So that's good information to know in general. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I decided not to use the bullet here because I can just take the cave section faster than almost anyone. I don't need to use the bullet to commit to that. But then the POW comes, and I think I can hop dodge it for some reason. I'm an idiot. I should have just used my bullet, but I dropped the bullet. And then I try really hard to snipe Baby Daisy, and I just fail horribly. I guess Funky Kong is too strong, and he just overshoots where Baby Daisy's going to be. So that's the thing that happens. Baby Daisy falls off the edge here, so I actually get a decent-sized lead, and then I immediately squander it by falling off the edge myself. I didn't want her to be alone in the chilly waters, so I also knocked Toad down there. Idiot Toad. You know, did the exact thing that I just did. I get starred by Luigi, because I'm not thinking, and I back up for an item. It's a golden mushroom, so I'm going to use it a couple times to kind of reclaim my place up here. But I'm going to hold off right about here so that I can chain an item and get another item, which is a fake item box. I back it here into King Boo's face. Take that, King Boo, you nerd. And I'm now in first place with a pretty decent lead. And you know what happens when I have a pretty decent lead? I take a corner wrong. Yep, so I fall off. And Baby Mario takes first place. I knock Baby Daisy off the edge because I am in a heavier vehicle than she. It is her fault for driving on the outside of me. It's not my fault at all. King Boo takes a really awkward line and takes my item. I wasn't expecting it. But he squanders it immediately. But he does wheelie bump me, so. He remains in front of me. And I'm going to see if he gets another item here. I don't see him throw anything. Baby Mario throws both of his items, so I can safely pass him without worrying about any sort of red shell. And, yep, take the cave section as I do. Nobody knows how to take the cave section ever. This is a great opportunity for me to point out again the, like, weird bouncing effect. You'll see it again here pretty clearly once I start wheeling. What is going on here? Look at that. Like, what is he operating a jackhammer? What is he doing? What are you doing, Funky Kong? You're such a jackanape. Yeah, anyway, I get first place, and I win the race. So, that's pretty good, especially considering how many times I fall off the edge in that race. It's kind of abysmal, but oh well. And then I have Waluigi Stadium for you. Now, to be honest, there's not a ton of action in this, but I will commentate as much as I remember doing. Yep, I barely miss getting my dome cut off by a green shell, and I take the wall trick, and I get into first place here. And, yeah, so most of this race is going to be me just kind of driving normally. I realize that I don't normally show Waluigi Stadium because it is such an easy front-run track when you're playing against CPUs. And the reason for that is there are a lot of technical aspects to this track that are not coded into the CPUs. And to be honest, this is one of the most technical tracks in the game anyway. Like, there is a very ideal way to take the first turn, and there's an ideal way to take the second turn, and there's an ideal way to take the second ramp, and there's an ideal way to take the half-pipe way. Route. Ignore that. That didn't actually happen. There's just so many, like, technical components that all work in tandem to just add so much easy time to your route compared to the CPUs. So I honestly don't include it that often, but it is a fun track, it's fun to drive, and I thought I would include it because a couple of things happened at the start of the race, and I completely forgot they were at the start of the race, so I started describing something entirely different, and then didn't comment at all when it happened in the race. So, whoops, I meant to do that later. I meant to start talking about that right about here. Anyway, we can talk about anything else that you want to talk about. Let's talk about porridge. Have you ever had porridge? I don't think I have ever had porridge. I don't know what technically classifies as porridge. Like malto meal? Is that porridge, maybe? Like a soupy oatmeal? I've had soupy oatmeal, and I've had malto meal like once in my life, and I absolutely hated it. It's awful. I don't know why people like malto meal. It's honestly disgusting. Is porridge a breakfast food, or is it a dinner soup? I don't really remember what porridge is now that I'm talking about it. Anyway, that's not really that important to the race. The important thing is, look at how much of a lead I have now. I have been pretty unlucky with items this race, and I still have a huge lead. So, like, if you learn how to drive this track well, an easy win. Easy win against the CPUs, every time. Anyway, that is that track, and the last track I have for you today is Mario Raceway. We're doing pretty well this session, so I decided not to hit the good luck wall. You'll see I pay for that later! Nah, I'm just kidding. It's a fine race. I get red shelled immediately, which is, I have learned, I drew out my item immediately, and I do so here as well, because there's another red shell coming for me. Unfortunately, it was 2 in the disguise of 1, so I do actually get hit by a red shell here. And I go for the item. I'm not worried about the Mega Mushroom behind me. It's gonna end. But then I do get red shelled by Luigi, so I am in 5th place. I'm going to use my mushroom here to chain and hopefully get another mushroom. Luckily, I get triple mushrooms, so that's pretty awesome. And I get a little trick here, and I accidentally get a draft. I wasn't going for the draft, but I'm glad that I got it. So now I'm in 1st place with triple mushrooms. Now, if I get hit by an item, which I do here, I believe. Nope. Don't worry about that. If I get hit by an item, I'm not going to use my mushroom because this car has pretty good acceleration. So I'm just going to take the shortcut like this. That shortcut can be a little difficult with an outside drift bike. So I decided to hop into the shortcut so I can delay using my mushroom. And when you're using a mushroom, you actually have a little bit better handling. Or traction. I guess technically it's traction. You have a little bit better traction when you're using a mushroom. So I'm relying on that to take it a little bit better. But I have a pretty big lead now, and here's the item I was talking about. It's going to hit me, and I'm not going to use my mushroom because I can use it probably for better just later in the track. So I'm going to go for the shortcut again, use the same method. Unfortunately, I don't get exactly the line that I want, so I have to use my other mushroom to get out. But, yeah, I have such a huge lead at this point that it honestly doesn't even matter. And, yeah, this is about... excuse me. This is about the episode I have for you today. I blocked one more red shell, and, there it is. There she is. There's my, my victory. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, I suppose. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. If you enjoyed, I have a lot more episodes. As I said, this is episode 104, so I have 103 other episodes. Unless you're watching this in the future, in which case I have hopefully 159 other episodes. But we're not quite done here. We have one more thing to check out. We unlocked the Sneakster, so next episode we will be using that with a medium character. And, yeah, thank you so much for watching. Dear Lord, thank you for another day. I pray that you help us today to keep our hearts and our minds pure. Help us to avoid the temptations of things that promise happiness, but cannot give joy. Help us to be eternally minded today. In your name I pray. Amen.